Wake the fuck up, samurai. We have a city to burn.
All right, let's talk Ashes of Creation. Finally looks playable. I heard about the game, of course, everyone heard, and if it's a scam or not. And let's see how this game looks, how it will be maybe performing, and if you like it or not. Let's go into it.
What up, boys? So now that we've had a couple of days to digest this month's incredible showcase, I can confirm that what they showed has been the best showcase that we've had in over 2 whole years. Yes, you've heard me right. I'd even be so bold as to say it was better than the season's preview from early 2022. But I'm going to explain why I believe this stream has been the best so far, talk about some interesting implications, and provide some feedback to a few of the presentation points that hopefully you guys agree with.
So, first of all, I didn't watch a lot of content to Ashes of Creation. It looks good. It looks very the world looks live. Like there is a little bit of how do you say rising how's it called, dusk, I don't know, the thing that is rising when the water is evaporating, vapor. Maybe. So that looks good. And yeah, let's see.
Now, with all that bollocks out of the way, let's begin, shall we? Okay, so as I said in the intro, despite the topic this month, I personally thought this showcase was the best showcase so far, period. If I'm honest, I think Intrepid completely misrepresented what this livestream was actually about, because ultimately, the commission part of it was almost completely void and skipped over. And I think because of that, they kind of shot themselves in the foot a little with their reach. Many people were turned off by this month's topic, so they took this opportunity to skip watching it live entirely, which is a huge shame. Personally, I thought this livestream was much more of a dynamic world preview than actually focused on those kill and collect quests, so hopefully going forward, the team will be much more confident in the way that they present themselves. You're dominating the genre, bringing all these systems together, Intrepid. Fucking own it. Put these piece of shit MMOs in their place. And
I have to say, it looks pretty nice. The animations, the spells look very powerful, and you need time, so that's great. It's a little bit, I would say the UI is a little bit missing. Maybe that's intentional, or maybe you can downgrade it so much. But in general, nice.
That brings us to the first of our points. What we saw this month was a culmination of all the traditional systems that we've had from previous MMOs brought together in one neat package, then governed by Ashes of Creation's unique node system. We had the basic breadcrumbs in the form of those commissions, encouraging players to go out into the world. We had the traditional small-scale narrative stories with the side quest chain. We had the player-driven progressive element of spawning dynamic boss events that changed the area completely in multi.
I wonder, because first of all, it sounds like the normal progression. You have quests, you walk around and find something, and then like you can really change through events how the world is shaped. That's cool. They are very trying a lot in this game, I assume. I wonder if they can deliver.
Ways. And then to conclude the whole loop, we had a node progressing up to the next stage and triggering a zone-wide story arc, a genuine, complete gameplay loop that really showed off how dynamic and player.
The armor looks a little bit like a mixture of Magneto and what was the guy from Street Fighter, the end guy? Kind of a little bit like that. The color and the outfit. Don't you think?
driven Ashes of Creation's world is. It's basically EverQuest, World of Warcraft, Guild Wars 2, and all those fantastic elements from these previous MMOs brought together in one cohesive world. And we're finally starting to see that come together after 7 long years of concepts. Bravo!
The hell? 7 years? Yo. I don't know if I would like to wait that long for a game unless it really turns out well. And on the other side, I don't know if I want to support a game that takes that long. Like, damn.
Is the only thing I have to say. However, there was one particular part of the stream that I really didn't enjoy, and that's the inclusion of console commands to trigger these events. I get that these large-scale events and story arcs, they're not supposed to be triggered by singular quest completions, but it comes across a little weird and deceptive when you show something happening in the distance, triggered by a console command, but then you don't actually go inside said area to prove anything changed. Especially when we're so close to Alpha 2's launch at this point. I'd say the hard part of this is hooking it up to the node system. So when you're manually triggering it all, it does come across as a little worrying. Are devs just going to follow large streamers around, manually triggering events during Alpha 2's launch, giving the public...
Yeah, that would be very interesting to see, because on the one side, it is kind of like showing too hard and only showing people and streamers how it could be, and then it doesn't work in the full version. On the other side, it gives a little bit of a how to say like a Dungeons and Dragons DM, right? Like a guy like in Helldivers right now. There are DMs that kind of like drive the story forward. That would be interesting. That would be really cool, I guess.
The perception that it all works, when in reality, it's all just scripted bullshit. That's how it comes across to us when you're using console commands to trigger things during your monthly live streams. But I digress. Aside from that, the whole presentation was amazing. I do have some feedback too, and I think I'll start with the storm. Obviously, the whole atmosphere and look of the storm with the fog, the amazing water physics, and general vibe is fantastic. However, the rain itself is a little bit scuffed. It seems like it's attached to the camera for some reason, and because of that, when the camera is moving around fast, like players tend to do in MMOs, the rain actually moves dependent on the camera's direction, causing the rain to do some pretty wacky shit that doesn't make sense and breaks my immersion pretty damn hard. I think at one point the rain was moving upwards due to the way that you're rendering it, so hopefully you can go back and...
That's really strange. I guess, yeah, when you know and notice, then you know, and it is kind of annoying, I guess. But maybe they change it. Otherwise, maybe if you can blend it out, it's kind of good. You don't know. At least it looks, again, pretty kind of real, or pretty... yeah, I would say, again, live, like natural, almost, or not. I don't know how to explain.
Fix these problems. In addition, the lightning bolts were another fantastic mechanic, adding a lot of dynamic movement and environmental threats to the world, as the lightning was pretty much one-shotting you if you got hit, as it should. However, I'm not really a fan of it hurting the mobs. As these were storm weavers, I found it rather strange that the storm that they were weaving is actually fucking their ass. So I think an interesting change to this would be, instead of the lightning strikes damaging the Minotaurs, it actually heals them to full and gives them a powerful temporary buff. You know, kind of like they've absorbed the lightning that they've summoned and they're ready to like fucking foaming at the mouth, and she's like ready to just stomp on my cock. Do you know what I mean? This
Or just change the name. Well,
would add the dynamic of players trying to pull the Minotaurs out of the lightning strikes should one spawn on top of them, and just improve the general vibe and immersion of the whole area. This can, of course, be extended to all weather events, as I feel like the factions that are involved with these changes should gain benefits from their effect, rather than be so...
Was that a storm from the weather system, or was it still a, I don't know, the spell of the guy that died? That looked a little bit like suspicious.
Subject to the same negatives as the player. Now, moving on, I really enjoyed the narrative element of the side quests. I think it being presented in a way that feels like Dungeons and Dragons is absolutely genius. I'm pretty confident I mentioned this in my breakdown video, but I would love for these particular narrative parts to be voice acted. I've said
that was cool. Like, you just get a hint what's happening, and then you have to look around and explore your environment to see where this occurs. That would be interesting. Like when you get just a hint, something like you hear some cracks in the wood, and are you going inside the woods or you stay on the road? That's pretty nice.
Before in the past, I'm not a fan of quests themselves being voice acted. I don't think that's necessary. Ultimately, people don't really care about the context of quest text, but giving some disembodied voice to the narrative part that draws attention to these quest givers out in the world would be extremely immersive. I think Baldur's Gate 3 being as well received as it did really helped to show that this Dungeons and Dragons type storytelling adds to a game's overall quality. And as Ashes of Creation is inspired a lot by Dungeons and Dragons, or rather Pathfinder, I think it fits perfectly. Finally, I just want to talk about...
I don't know if people have the patience to play an MMORPG and listen to everything or read everything through. I guess they have to make a system where people really, like he said, make it listen to it. Maybe someone is telling that as like a game master. I don't know, or DM, because otherwise everyone wants to min-max. Everyone wants to go as quickly as possible, as far as possible, and that is only given when you skip all those unnecessary stuff that hinders you.
About some UI elements related to the commission boards specifically. I understand that the UI is still work in progress and in a functional state. However, I'll give my 2 cents anyway because we came up with some interesting ideas for its presentation. I'd really enjoy it if the commissions themselves were presented in a way that looks like small wanted posters being pinned on a backboard. You know, kind of like how it looks in the actual game world, but projected onto a UI as well. Maybe giving those little paper posters a flicker as you hover over them with your mouse, then marking it with a red accepted stamp when you click it. You've pretty much already started this with the current implementation, and I'm excited to see where you go with it as all your UI elements move out of that functional state and into the presentable one. Overall, a fantastic live stream. Not sure why people are calling it
Yeah, I would say that makes more immersion. Not bad idea. Could work pretty well.
filler or saying it was boring. I thought it showed some incredible combat changes, insane animation strides, immersive world building, and the full gameplay loop of Ashes of Creation perfectly. But as usual, I am just one nerd, desperate for a good MMO, and my opinion means nothing without yours in the comments below. And hey!
Alright, that was a presentation of Ashes of Creation. It looks good. It has a little bit of this Dragon's Dogma vibe. I don't know if two games can compete in the same kind of bracket with the same art style, but as an MMO, interesting. Now let's see what the other MMO creators are doing, like Riot maybe. So that's all for now. See you in the next one. Peace out.